Good morning, gentlemen. This is a 12-story block combining classical Neo-Georgian features with all of the advantages of modern design. The tenants arrive in the entrance hall here, are carried along the corridor on a conveyor belt in extreme comfort, past murals depicting Mediterranean scenes, towards the rotating knives. The last 20 feet of the corridor are heavily soundproofed. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. A few brief things before I get into the main discussion here. One is that John McCain has declared himself to be the quote-unquote underdog in the race, hoping, I suppose, to gain some advantage from taking on that role of underdog. Well, no fucking shit, you're the underdog. Everything points to the fact that Obama is going to be our next president, barring some October surprise, terrorist attack, or new war. Of course, I do not take out of possibility the fact that martial law may still yet be declared, for reasons that I'll get to in a moment. One other little small note, the United States debt clock has run out of digits. We're so far in debt we can't even calculate or show how fucking far in debt we are. Yes, that's correct. It's interesting to me. I expected it to take a little bit longer before this happened, but it's interesting to me that we've already seen the beginnings of some type of hearings in Congress as to the state of affairs in Wall Street, and they look into why the economic collapse is happening. Now, I, of course, thought that at some point some scapegoat would be brought forward and paraded before everybody in order to defray public anger over the issue by giving them someone to be angry at. And that way they could protect the vast majority of the lying, thieving, backstabbing robbers who were the fucking CEOs and leaders of all of the other fucking banks, mortgage companies, financial institutions, etc., which precipitated the economic collapse that we're having right now, that we're in the midst of, and that we're at the very beginning of in some ways. I just didn't expect it to happen so soon, but it has. Congress is looking into AIG, and they're also looking at Lehman Brothers. Now, it's my considered opinion that Lehman Brothers, despite all of the other bailouts that came while companies were on the brink of fucking bankruptcy, Lehman Brothers conspicuously was allowed to declare bankruptcy without receiving a government bailout before that happened. Now, I find it very interesting in the fact that now Lehman Brothers is being investigated, and of course some things are coming out. I'm sure not all of it will come out, but some things are coming out to point to the fact that there is incredible and rampant fraud and chicanery going on in Lehman Brothers. Not to mention, you know, gigantic bonus systems, huge salaries for CEOs, CFOs, and other high-ranking corporate figures, despite the rapid decline of the company itself. And going on right up to the very last fucking minute. Same thing for AIG. So it's my prediction that Lehman and AIG will be the sacrificial scapegoats in this so-called investigation, which will primarily focus on these two groups and pretty much leave everybody else alone in order to hide the fraud, the massive theft, and the illegal activities of all of the other players in the financial meltdown that is happening in our country and now worldwide. It's also interesting to note that some financial companies are refusing to participate in the so-called rescue plan or the bailout as passed by the House and Senate and signed into law by President Bush. Now this is where the martial law comes in, because if the banks continue to take on the incredible losses that are going on in Wall Street right now, with the Dow below 9,000, some companies have suffered losses that are unprecedented in 50, 60 years. The percentage loss of value. And it doesn't look like it's about to end anytime soon. I mean, pension plans, other things have pretty much dried up in value. And you know, if you ever have any doubt before that we're in a depression and fast moving towards a worldwide depression of unprecedented scope, this should be your fucking wake-up call. Okay? Now, some companies are refusing to participate because they do not want the so-called added scrutiny that goes along with the government bailouts. Now, this is where the martial law strategy comes in, because now that we have a so-called rescue plan which would put the Fed and the Treasury Department in charge of the market, in effect, by allowing them to buy distressed paper products from various banks, we now have a new strategy which is being talked about being implemented by the Fed in order to allow them to buy short-term paper in a last-ditch effort to free up credit to allow businesses to continue operations. Now, this is where the martial law strategy comes in, because if in fact this does not free up credit and allow the market to stop its free fall, then I predict a nationalization of the entire banking sector. And the president declaring martial law, at least insofar as the financial markets go. Now, there is an executive order that specifically details that particular scenario, and he could enact that. And that is my prediction when it comes to the economy as it stands right now. Barring a stop in the incredible slide in the stock market and impending massive bank failures, if the Fed's last-ditch effort to free up credit and to save these institutions fails, we will see martial law in one form or another. It might be limited to the financial sector. It might be more widespread. That will remain to be seen. And of course, if it happens this month, it could be a grand October surprise indeed for everybody. Especially those who think that by getting Obama in as president, they will somehow miraculously be lifted out of the slime and gutter of the fucking bullshit that we've been put into over the last how many years. So that is my prediction, and that is where I think we're headed right now. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you up to date with my thoughts on this issue and others. Thank you. Good night.